Sacramento Kings. But the other end of that, the Golden State Warriors, I mentioned that there's something in sports that seemed indefensible, right? And that was the trade of Luka by the Mavs, right? That was seemingly an indefensible move. How do you go about doing that? Everybody targets the general manager at the time, Nico Harrison, who it was his idea, but all people have bad ideas. It's people above them that approve them or deny them, right? I think that governorship of the Mavs has gotten a complete pass on that whole thing. Nico was allowed to have what was deemed to be a bad idea. Someone had to say yes to it. Anyway.
Great point.
Right? I mean, I'm just saying, like,
that's a great point.
It was a bad idea to do that. And the ownership, governorship said, sure, go ahead. Now, I believe in empowering your people, but if it's a bad decision, it's a bad decision. So seemingly the indefensible, right? We're in agreement on that? Well, Draymond Green went on his show, the Draymond Green Show, and called out us and many of you as fans and media out there, well, we're media, you're fans, and we're both, about the double standard with Nico Harrison trading Luka.
So many people crushed Nico Harrison for the reasons that he gave. And when Nico gave those reasonings, everybody said he's ridiculous, he's crazy. This has nothing to do with Luka, by the way, what I'm saying. But now when I turn on the TV, all I see is everybody in the media who crushed Nico Harrison, who essentially aided in him getting fired, regurgitating the same things that Nico Harrison was saying. And I struggle with that because I haven't seen one person come out and say, hey, Nico, I'm sorry for the things I said about you when you made that move, because I just said the same thing out of my mouth. I struggle with that a bit. Again, this has nothing to do with Luka Doncic and everything to do with the media and Nico Harrison. Nico gave his reasonings as the general manager of a team of why he thought that was the right move. And everybody said, you're an idiot, you should be fired, worst general manager in NBA history. And now all of you people are saying the same thing. But no one has said, maybe Nico was right.
Okay, so this was coming off the week where the Lakers weren't playing that well, and the three of us sat here and said, well, the three of them, LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, are not going to win together, so on and so forth. Would you like a Nuno conspiracy theory?
Yes, please.
Nuno Miguel Barrera Teixeira, producer of this show. What is Draymond really saying?
Oh, he's defending his boy, LeBron James. Reminding us this. I love when you say this isn't about Luka, but like you're literally talking about Luka and quote unquote his deficiencies. And so you're just protecting your boy LeBron by saying, hey, no, blame that guy. It's not LeBron's fault.
You look confused, Canty. Why?
I mean, at this stage in his career, is anybody on the fence about whether or not Luka Doncic is going to play defense? Everybody knows Luka doesn't play defense. And that was the reason that Nico Harrison decided that he was going to move on from him. Everybody knows Luka doesn't play defense.
And he complains while not playing defense.
Forget about the complaining part of it. He's never going to be a good defender. What you're just trying to hope is that you can build a team around him where he's not as much of a liability on that end of the court. But you know what? There is a facet of his game that is extraordinary, which is what he can do scoring the basketball. He's leading the league in scoring. There's a reason why this guy went 5 straight first-team All-NBAs. And the reason why Nico Harrison got criticized was not because of his basketball philosophy in believing that defense wins championships. It's about moving on from a player that was 25 years old that had, again, made 5 straight first-team All-NBAs. You just don't do that.
And was fresh off taking his team to the finals.
Exactly. The hope would be that the player would mature, figure out how to better take care of his body. And if you're the general manager, it's up to you to be able to bring in the people to surround him with in order to make sure that you guide him in that direction. But to cut bait on a player that young, that talented, that productive was why Nico Harrison got fired. It's not because he believes that defense wins championships. He got fired because he moved on from a singular talent that you get once in a generation.
Stop right there for 1 second. I'm so glad you said that. The concept of, he believes in defense. Kyrie Irving was his point guard at the time he did this. You can't tell me you believe in defense, all 5 positions, if Kyrie Irving is your point guard. Kyrie Irving is going to be a Hall of Famer one day. He's a great basketball player, right? Just fine. But you cannot we believe in defense, every spot on the roster has to defend, and then you're also putting Kyrie Irving as your point guard who cannot defend. Go ahead, sorry.
But does Draymond have a point, though? Like, you're sitting here saying, we know who Luka is. We know that he's not going to play defense. Evan, you brought up the argumentative nature sometimes on the court.
One way of saying it.
We were worried about his conditioning, or at least the Mavs were really worried about his conditioning, and they knew him better than anybody.
Yep.
He was in the building, had a lot of success with them, and they were so frustrated by certain things that weren't changing that they moved on from a 25-year-old superstar who had just taken them to the NBA Finals. It's one of the most shocking things that we'll ever have in sports because it happened in the cloak of darkness over the weekend. And you don't move on from a superstar like Luka. But then you have to think, they really must have felt very convicted about what they thought about him, and more importantly, what they thought about the future with Luka, which they were going to have to make a decision on. And now we're talking about his tenure with the Lakers, and even though it feels like it's in transit right now because of the end of LeBron James' career, I wonder if Draymond has a point that we're talking about Luka not being intense defensively. We're talking about him not being the catalyst to uplift the Lakers. And I get what he's saying, that those criticisms that we in the media and that fans are having about Luka is part of the reason, and a huge reason, why Nico and the Mavs moved on from him.
Just to be clear, I want to go back. In transit is in 2 words, or was that 1 word that you just used?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it kind of does when we have a bit called Word of the Day where we're supposed to guess the word of the day. I just don't know if you spoke that as 1 word or 2 words.
Well, you'll just have to call it out if you think it's the word of the day.
That's not fair.
It is fair.
Well, then I'll pass. I'm not going to say it's the word of the day.
Smart man.
Okay.
Am I a smart man?
You are. It was in space transit.
Okay, well, I didn't know. Here's very simply, Draymond bringing this back up, that we're critiquing Luka for the same things that Nico was critiquing Luka for.
Right.
Fair, factual. We also are in the media and fans. He was the general manager. There are certain people, let's just use when you were playing with the Giants. Eli Manning was your quarterback. Nothing was wrong with Eli, but I'm going to guess the New York Giants as an organization said, no matter what, Eli Manning is our quarterback. And if there are issues with anything with Eli, we are going to find the things. Right. So here's what I would do. Luka, we started the show today at 6 a.m. Eastern. Go back and listen with the Bulls intro. He's a brand Jordan athlete. Luka, have you ever heard of Tim Grover? No, who's that? He was Michael's trainer. You wear the Michael Jordan gear, right? Yeah. We've hired him. We've assigned him to you. Go say no to him if you don't want to work out. Michael did. Michael said yes to him. Kobe worked with him. Dwayne Wade worked with him. Like, you have to pull out all the stops.
I'm with you 1,000%.
That's your job. That's the difference. Draymond is fair in what he's saying. The critiques are still there. We can't fix them. We don't work for the Lakers. He roots for the Lakers. He doesn't work for the Lakers, right? You would. But there's a big difference in this. And that's the separation here. Sure, Nuno's theory may be on. Maybe this is about LeBron and not blaming LeBron. But the reality is Nico Harrison got fired because he couldn't fix the problems that, yes, still exist, but he was charged with fixing those problems. Simple as that. It's actually not that simple, but simply said.
Luka ain't the only star on the Lakers that don't play defense, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
No, they collect those.